me. Welcome to day 19. I am very excited to start today's mobility session, so let's jump in, and I'm happy to see everyone. Hopefully everybody is making it because I had to switch links, and that's okay. So I will also send the recording to everybody. Please take out your mat and we will go through some mobility flows today. It will be gentle, will be smooth, and we would jump right in a second when everybody found me. All right, I will post this link really quick into my YouTube, and then everybody can hopefully find me. All right, guys. Now, 2 mobility flows, and then we will go through some Q&As. I'm sorry for the new link, but I hope you guys made it. We will start in a standing position, and once you've arrived, we will start with moving down our spine vertebra by vertebra, going down, down, down. Let your hands tap onto the mat and then slide down into a squat. And then we will lift up and slide up and roll our spine up vertebra by vertebra, slowly bringing our shoulder blades back. Nice. We will do a couple of more reps here, and then we will combine this movement. Nice and slow. Try to really extend your legs and roll your vertebra up and down as slow as you can. Let's do 2 more. Tuck your chin, roll down. Keep your upper body close to your legs, and then slide down into a squat. Beautiful. 1 more up. And vertebra by vertebra, rolling your shoulders back. 1 more down, and then we connect 2 movements. And sit down. Nice. Now, as we have arrived, we will combine it with a knee to floor movement. So once you've arrived into your squatting position, move your knees forward, squeeze your glutes to protect your spine, bring your shoulders back, and back into a squatting position. We will do a couple of movements here, just that. Knees forward. Nice. And then back into a squat. Reach your arms forward for counterbalance and to allow for a deeper squatting position. Knees forward. Nice. And back into a squatting position, and we will do 3 more. Beautiful. And back into a squatting position. And 2 more. Squeeze your glutes so you will feel your hip flexors even more. Back into a squatting position, reach forward, and then onto your toes, back. Open your chest, squeeze your glutes, and we will end up in a squatting position. Now we connect and extend our legs and roll our spine up, vertebra by vertebra. Nice. Now you can imagine what the full smooth flow looks like. We roll down and combine those movements. Then we slide into a squat. Really pretend you are just like a sack and sink down so your body is relaxed but controlled, and then bring your knees forward. Nice and slow. And we were rolling up again. Tuck your chin, open your chest, shoulders back, and roll your shoulders forward. Tuck chin, roll down. Into a squat, dive down, and knees forward. Let's do 2 more here. Really embrace the full movement. Try to sink deeper and deeper into your squatting position. And 1 more. Roll down. And sink down into your deepest squatting position. The wider the stance, the deeper you probably get. And knees forward. And we're rolling up again. Beautiful. Okay. This was a nice smooth flow to start with. The second one will be a little more dynamic and probably warms up very well. So we will sit down. I'll show you once what we would do next. Again, 2 movements. The first one is this. Roll back, tuck, round spine, and then you see how I land with 1 leg in front and 1 is tucked. So I can extend my hips into a lunging position, sit back down, and we roll back again. Switch sides, so you bring your other leg forward and extend into a lunge. Sit back, roll, and use a little bit of momentum. Squeeze your glute to open those hip flexors. Reach and roll back. Make sure you round your spine when you roll back. Give me a couple of more here to really get into the movement, understand it without having to think too much, and shoot forward. Reach, roll back, and smooth up. Nice. And 1 more each side. Extend your hips and roll back and extend. Okay, let's do 1 more each side, and then we will start connecting the second movement. All right. As we start to warm up, I will show you the second movement. We will only do that, and then in the next round, when I guide you through, we will combine those. For the next one, we will start in a plank position. Now, drop your hips into an active cobra. And then when you shoot back up, we will hop into a squat. Reach forward when you hop. It's a nice and smooth transition. Then back to plank. Let your hips sink. Squeeze your glutes to protect your spine. Shoulder blades are back. Retract your shoulders. Active shoulders back from your ears. And then jump forward into a squatting position. Let's do a couple of more here. Squeeze your glutes. Shoulders push down into the floor. And back to squat. Nice. 3 more. And plank jump, active cobra. And jump forward with your feet into a wide squat. Arms forward to sink a little bit deeper. 2 more. Plank jump. Squeeze your glutes. Shoulders back. And jump forward into a squat. 1 more last rep before we connect movement. Squeeze your glutes. Nice. And back into squat. Beautiful. Okay, I show you how we connect those movements now. The first one, if you remember, was roll back, lunge. Let me show you first. Then we do together slowly, lunge. Now, when I'm rolling back, I'm closing my feet again, and I'm ending up in a squat. So I can connect the movement. Cobra, squat, roll back. All right, let's do it together a couple of times. It will be very dynamic, and you might sweat a little. At least I'm warm now. I was cold before, but now I'm warm. So, starting, rounding your spine, and we will do lunge right, lunge left. So, roll back, lunge, extend your hips. Roll back, lunge, extend your hips. Now, roll back and we end up in a squat. Reach forward, wide squat, hop into cobra. Now we go back into a squat. So from here we can roll back. Nice. Again, hips open up. Let's do a couple of reps so you have some time to get into this movement. Now, roll into squat. Nice. Plank jump. Jump forward. And roll. Right side. Roll back. Left side. Roll back. Squat. And active cobra. Retract shoulder blades. Everybody's here. Then we would jump back into squat. From here we can roll back. Let's do 2 more. Right hip extension. Roll back. Left hip extension. The next one we will end up into a squat. Wide feet. Nice. And plank jump. 1 more. Jump to squat, reach forward, round spine. Squeeze your glutes here. Now, sit back, roll, lunge forward. Nice. Roll back, and next one, we will end up in a squatting position. Beautiful. From here, active cobra, and we're done. Nice. Sit back into child's pose and have a couple of breaths here. You can round your spine for counter movement. Nice. Okay. I have a third flow for you. It's the same system. We have 2 movements that we will connect with each other. So the first one was slow and smooth. The second one was very dynamic and energizing, I would say. And the third one is focused on stability. If you're ready, come with me into a lunging position. Show you the first movement, which is not so much stability focused, but the connecting movement will be. So start in lunge. When you're here, sit back. I like to tuck my toes so I can sit on my heel. And then we come forward and extend the knee. We'll do this a couple of times. Lunge back. Lunge forward, squeeze your glutes, open your chest, extend your knee. Nice. And lunge back. This is one of the simplest, but one of my favorite hip openers in general, the sit back movements. You have seen it in various workout videos and different variations. Okay, with the next rep, we will do 2 more, and with the next rep, sit back. Now lunge forward and reach, active. Bring arms down, sit back, 1 more time. Lunge forward, extend knee and reach. Beautiful. Okay, the second part of this flow will be from here, Our rear leg comes forward, so shift your weight onto the front leg. Move slow. Knee lift. Push your toes, outer foot and heel into the ground for balance. Keep your hips square. Now, bring your heel on your standing leg's knee, and we squat down and reach our arms forward. Hawaiian squat. Come up, tuck knee, lunge back. Okay, one more. Tuck knee, cross over, reach. Slow, slow, slow. Ah. I can't talk and do this. Extend, tuck, back. Okay, one more. Knee lift, cross, reach. Think of sitting back and come up, step back. Quick break before we connect the two movements that I just showed you. This is, by the way, a great exercise for runners, but for everybody. I know a lot of you are runners and love running, and this one is amazing for stability, but also mobility, because we have the hamstring stretch, we have the quad stretch, then we have an active position where we need to stabilize a lot with our ankles, and we also have the glute stretch in the Hawaiian squat. But it is combined with a lot of activation for the stabilizing muscles. When you will be in the Hawaiian squat, try to push your knee outwards if you can. I know you're probably more concerned about not falling, but try, okay? And both sides will feel different. Usually that's the case for me as well. Let's continue with the same side. Full flow. Okay, deep lunge, knees on floor, hands are on the floor, and now we sit back. Then we come forward, reach with lifting our knee. Nice. Now press the standing leg into the floor, tuck your knee, like lift your knee, and cross over Hawaiian squat. Sink deep, sink back with your hips to have a glute stretch, and then come up, tuck your knee, step back, deep lunge, and we sit back. Take your time, second round. Come forward, extend your knee and reach. Shift weight forward, lift your knee, cross over, sit back. Nice and deep stretch here and release, step. And we sit back. Beautiful. Let's do one more time. One more flow, and lift your knee and move your weight onto your front leg. Cross, Hawaiian squat. Push your knee outwards for a deeper stretch. Grab the ground with your foot for stability. And come up, tuck your knee up and step back, sit back. Nice work. When you're ready, we will do the other side. That's the last flow for today. Right or left foot forward. Once you're ready, we will do the full work with the other side. I believe in you that you can remember this now. And it might feel a little shakier or a little better on the other side. So that will be interesting for you to recognize. We sit back. Then we lunge forward. Lift the knee and reach. Shift the weight forward. Grab the ground with your standing leg. lift your knee. Cross, knee pushes outwards, and we reach into a Hawaiian squatting position. Deep, 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 deep. Beautiful. And release. Knee lift. Step back. Drop knee. Sit back. Okay, a couple of more here. Lunge forward. Lift your knee and reach. Shift your weight onto the standing leg. Knee lift. Cross over. Reach forward. Deep, 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 deep. And slowly come up. Knee lift. Step back into deep lunge. Drop your knee and sit back. Let's do two more. Two more really focused flows, okay? Lunge forward. Lift your knee and reach. Lift knee in standing position. Cross and rotate your knee outwards. Sink deep into the Hawaiian squat. Keep one focal point. That will help. Lift knee, step back. The focal point is actually really important. So if you try to look to the side and then doing this, that will be difficult. So either do this frontal towards me or just listen to what I'm saying. Last one, sit back, lunge forward and lift your knee, reach, active. Then lift, knee in standing position, cross and reach into Hawaiian squat. Slowly come out of it, controlled, back into the knee lift and step back. Drop your knee, sit back. Nice work. If you would like, while I'm talking to you and answer some of the Q&As, I suggest that you spend some time in the straddle position. That's one option. I like to sit in a straddle when I do something on my phone. So this is a little movement snack. If you haven't heard of it, movement snacks are little movements from 1 to 5 minutes. It's not really a workout, but it's something you just add into your daily routine and makes a big difference by the end of the day because you just sprinkle some stuff in instead of trying to make it this 1 hour session that's perfect and maybe you don't always make it. So spend some time in the straddle position while I'm talking, or you can also spend time in the pike one, or try to sit into a deep squatting position for as long as you can. So 3 options, so you can continue to mobilize and stretch and open up, and I will go through some of your questions. And since I'm recording this with my phone, I will check the questions here on my MacBook. All right, guys. So the first question I got was, what order do you recommend for a run and workout on one day? So I assume that person means a strength workout and a run on the same day. So how could I combine these two modalities? I actually did a whole podcast episode on that. The Art of Health podcast, the English version. My former podcast was in German. And on the English podcast version, you will see an episode. I think the title is How to Combine Running and Strength Training. I'm pretty confident that this is the title, something of that nature. That would go into more detail, but for a general idea right now, I suggest you can, first of all, then you need to see what is your priority right now. So is it running or strength training? And if it's both, I would rotate. So I would start doing the run on one day or in 1 week in the beginning of the day or first, and then the second week switch. But in general, it's best to keep as much time between those sessions as possible if you can. So if you can do a morning lift and an evening easy run, that's great. If you consider doing a tempo session, I would do that in the morning and I would do the lift in the evening, because for the tempo session you probably want to be fresh, even if lifting is your priority. I think that's how I would go about it. So it depends on the intensity of the run or the lifting session and if you do upper or lower body. Also, one tip, if you try to combine running and strength and you want to be good at both and there is not a lot of time for having a rest day, then it makes sense to combine an intense run with a leg day after. Because then you keep the intense days intense and then you have time to recover, like 1 or 2 days. If you do a tempo run on one day, the next day a heavy leg day, and then you have the next day a run again, you will never recover. So that's actually suggested if you want to have one rest day and your schedule's already full with workouts. I hope that was helpful. So ideally, you can do a morning and an evening session, so they won't affect each other as much. If you would like to get the most out of both, I recommend you combining a run with an upper body focused session. If you just want to combine in general, add strength training to your runs as a strength component, a stabilizing component for muscle endurance and strength to support your running, then you probably don't worry so much about your 1 rep max back squat, and it's just to keep your muscle and to keep your joints and everything healthy. Then I would do first run and then the strength workout, because the run seems to have more priority. And if lifting is your priority, then yeah, you need to see if you can either rotate the sessions or you do first the lifting and then an easy run after, if you just want to add in some running but you don't care so much about the progress there. Second question was, do you have any recommendations for recovery foods and or muscle building foods for vegans? So recovery and muscle building is kind of the same. It falls under the same umbrella. If you build muscle is dependent on what you eat, if you eat enough protein, but also your training intensity and modality. So on the side note, speaking on the side note, but for certain foods, I would suggest incorporating lentils, tofu, tempeh. I'm surprised sometimes how little people know tempeh. It's a fermented soybean product, which is like a block. It's a little bit like tofu, but you can actually see the whole soybeans. It's fermented, so for many people it's even better for gut health and digestible. It's very delicious. It has more taste than tofu, more like a nutty flavor, and I like to fry it in coconut. I'm not vegan, but I incorporate vegan options or plant-based options. So I fry it in coconut oil and sometimes a little bit of honey to caramelize it. If you're vegan, you might want to do maple syrup, and then some garlic powder and curry powder, paprika powder, whatever you like, to spice it up a little. And you can add that as a crunch into your salads. You can add it to your roasted vegetable, make like a nice bowl of it. So I think tempeh is something really underrated. Edamame, seitan, I don't know if that's the same in English, to be honest, but I think so. Quinoa is a pseudo grain. So even if you have a gluten intolerance, you can have quinoa, and it is also surprisingly high in protein, even though it's more a carb source. I would consider it more a carb source than a protein source, but compared to rice, for example, it has definitely more protein. Chickpeas and all types of other legumes are great. And then you can also look into some more fancy options. I like basics and more whole foods, but there are, for example, chickpea pasta or black bean pasta, which you may find in bio stores, and you can experiment with that a little bit as well. Then I suggest you taking a protein powder because it makes it much more easy to consume your protein as a vegan person, and you have it more concentrated, because with all the other vegan proteins or plant-based protein sources, there come a lot of fiber and carbs with it, which are great, but if you just want to add up in protein and you actually had enough fiber, then it could lead to bloatings. For example, if you want to reach a certain amount of protein with just chickpeas, it's probably very difficult to eat so many chickpeas, and they might bloat you up a lot. So that's why I recommend choosing a vegan protein powder, and it can be very difficult to find. I think now there are a lot of better options than there used to be, because they can have more like a sand-ish or earthy flavor. Yeah, but there are definitely some good options. If you want to get some recommendations, you can always text me on Instagram, because I would need to think a little bit about which ones I used to take. Now I'm only consuming whey protein powder, but there are some good ones out there. And the main thing you want to look for is a combination of pea and rice protein, because that mimics the amino acid profile of a whey protein, which is very good for recovery and muscle repair. How do we calculate caloric deficit for a meal plan? Okay, so in general, to be in a caloric deficit, you need to know your caloric maintenance. So how much do you spend on average per day, and then you know how much you can eat to maintain your weight. There are thousands of formulas out there, and they can be wrong, because a formula can be a reference point or something to start with. But if that is very far off, don't be surprised, because these formulas are different. First of all, some are considering your age, some are considering your body fat levels, so they always have different factors in their formulas, and I like to work with multiple for my clients to have the best average. But I actually don't want you to calculate and go crazy about it. An easier way is to track your food with a tracking app like MyFitnessPal, LiveSum, or anyone that you like. Just stick with one and then track your food. Don't change anything, because otherwise it won't represent your current maintenance. Keep everything the same, how you usually eat. If it's very different every day, I would want you to track at least for 1 week to have a good average. And then you should also weigh yourself before and after. And then you have your average caloric intake after 1 week, your weight, and if that stayed the same within 1 kilo, plus minus 1 kilo, then this is your maintenance caloric intake. It's very simple, just start there. We just need a number to start with, and that shouldn't be too low. And then you can calculate from there 10 to 15%. So just minus 10 to 15% of your caloric maintenance levels. And that is a good deficit to start with. Of course, it could be that you ate very different in that week, or that it didn't represent your average and it is actually too low or too high. So based on your hunger levels, based on how your weight is reacting over the next 4 weeks, and based on your energy levels, you can make adjustments, either cutting down a little bit more, or maybe you realize the deficit is too much if your hunger levels are very high, and then you might want to add 50 or 100 calories on top of that to reduce the deficit a little bit more, make it sustainable for a longer time. So this is a very simple way to start, and if you don't want to calculate and don't want to think about all these things and making those decisions, I can recommend you using my nutrition app, which is doing exactly that for you. There are no meal plans, there are no recipes or anything like that. I have free resources where I share a lot of my favorite recipes and some inspos. But if it is about losing body fat or regaining your period or increasing your metabolism, then we need to know our calories. And if this is something that is good for you and gives you structure and it's not something that makes you stressed, then I can recommend you using my app, where I do all the calculations based on your individual stats and your diet history for you. And I programmed a coach into that, which is also making adjustments in your weekly check-in. So you can put your weight, your hunger level, your energy level, and so on. And the coach will tell you how you guys will continue with your calories, and you don't need to think anymore. And the last question I have for today is, which protein powder do you have and which do I recommend? If you follow me for a longer time, then you know that I am working. I actually need to also sit in a straddle position. Now it's almost too late, but I will join you if you have spent some time here. I'm feeling my legs because I did my last long run yesterday before a race coming up next weekend. So I'm feeling it and I need that stretch. So back to the question. If you follow me for a long time, then you know that I've worked for, I think now almost 2 years or longer with FoodSpring. And they have a great protein powder, which I like. But honestly, there are many other brands that are good as well. And it's also a little bit dependent on what you like and how sweet you like it to be, what you can digest well. And I can just say that this is the one that I use and I really like it. I like the consistency, the taste. It's not too sweet, but it's not too boring. I usually go with vanilla or chocolate. And I travel with it. I always have it with me just in case I don't find a protein source when I'm traveling, or in case I want to try more sweets and treats and test new things. And then I might have an additional protein shake just to make sure I also get the protein in. But you can do a lot wrong with your protein powder. It just needs to be, because honestly the quality nowadays is very good for many brands. I would just look at, are there a lot of additional things you don't need, like a lot of sweeteners or something you might not digest very well, like I said, or is it's something that is not according to your taste. So some people don't like such sweet protein powders, and then you might want to get an unflavored one. That's also an option. I also want to add that that FoodSpring is unfortunately closing their business, and I always liked working with them, and I think they still have great products. I'm not sure which products I will use after they don't have any products anymore, because they are now selling out all the rest of their stuff. So it is very reduced in price, and that's a little insider tip for you, because you might as well want to look into it right now, as they still have some leftover storage. All right, guys, that's it for today. I am very thankful for everybody that made it here. And yeah, I will still do some live streams in the future. And I'm learning, it's just sometimes not so easy because I'm doing this all by myself, so I don't have anybody who can help me. And this is why I couldn't see in the beginning if I was actually live and if I was horizontal. So everybody that was joining my challenge, I'm very proud of you. I see all of you tagging me on Instagram. It makes me so happy. It was really something that I was so inspired about, with every workout that I've created, and with the guide and with the intro, and everything was like an art project for me. So I would love to do another challenge. I have posted yesterday a survey how you liked the challenge, to give me some feedback, what you like, what you didn't like, when you would like to do the next challenge, and so on. So I'm very excited to look into this, because I already saw, just posting it 24 hours ago, I had over 100 feedbacks, and I love to read through them, especially if somebody says this was not so good, or oh, I loved specifically this, then it gives me an idea what to work with and what to take into the next challenge, what not. And yeah, there are some great and exciting things waiting for you. Of course, I can't do a challenge every month, because I also need to catch up, and I also was training for a really big race that I just mentioned in the upcoming weekend, and it takes a lot of creative space, but also physical energy to create these challenges. So it needs a lot of time and planning in advance, and we just finished the challenge. So in May, I won't do a challenge. Obviously, we can't do back-to-back, guys. We need to rest a little bit, and you need to let me rest, so I can make the best challenge possible in the next months. So one more this year for sure. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for your support and for being here. I wish you a great evening and rest of your Sunday. And tomorrow we will start back with a 50-minute full body workout. It will be intense, but I know you will crush it. I was very sore. And then we will have one more workout left on Tuesday, which is a 50-minute Pilates and mobility one. It's also intense, but as you now know, it's a little bit different intense, since we don't have ankle weights or dumbbells, and more focused on flexibility. But I think these sessions are amazing to finish off this challenge, and then you have a little recovery week in your next plan, which I'm going to post on the 1st of May. So until then, thank you for being here, and I wish you a great rest of your evening or day if you're from the US or from somewhere else.